This podcast can be rude, crude, but always fabulous. If you don't like bad language, discussions of a sexual nature, or gays, turn off now. Otherwise...
Hello everybody, welcome back to 5 Gays, 1 Girl and a Podcast, the round table discussion with an opinion for everyone, whether you like it or not. I am Lee and I am your host this week. Joining me, as always, on my right, is, with his long, luscious locks, Mr. Gary John Sr.
Hello, dear.
And the Scottish marvel that is Ewan McRae.
Hello.
The West Coast wonder... Mr. Joel Ross.
All right, my babbers.
Mr. Fitness himself, Joe Coppock.
Hiya.
And Lady G, our fabulous first lady of the podcast.
Hello.
So this week, guys, we are going to be talking about childhood. What is everybody's earliest memories?
Popping out. No, it's not.
Ewan remembers
Sliding out
so
the
much.
vagina.
He's the one who, he remembers
Popping
literally...
out or coming out?
Ooh, they were at the same time.
They came out gay.
They came out gay.
What do you mean by
I've
popping
always
out?
been. I was a
Ewan
joke,
came
like,
out
out the
of
vagina.
Out the vagina.
Oh. I thought you meant like a bollock fell out.
My first memory
Yeah, that's what came
My
out.
first memory is my bollock popping out of my little short.
That's disgusting.
I was an unhealthy baby.
That doesn't surprise me. I'm a healthy grown-up.
I had a collapsed lung. I was
Oh.
yellow and had a triangular head. It looked like it was serious.
I was James.
We laugh now. It was serious at the time. Got like
Was it?
whisked off. I was in that little glass
I
aquarium.
was that.
In an
Yeah.
incubator.
Yeah.
I was in one of them.
I was like a month. I was like a month early, and I wasn't breathing.
Right.
So I was like,
It's like Jurassic Park. Like,
it was exactly like Jurassic Park,
spitting
except I was making no noise.
Wow.
But obviously I don't remember that.
How gutted would you be if your baby... That's one of my biggest fears.
Ugly
I'd have
baby.
An ugly baby.
Yeah.
Well, because two beautiful people quite often make an ugly baby.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
Two people
yeah.
make it beautiful.
I know it was a veilded
A veiled
compliment.
Fielded comment.
Veilded compliment.
sorry, we're not Dutch there. No offence to our friends in Netherlands.
You offend everyone else.
Yeah, not them.
I'm not a good Dutch friend.
So Ewan's
remember
earliest
my
memory
first-
was sliding out the vagina. What about you?
I think my first memory was sharing a bed with my mum and dad, and I can remember they were smoking.
It is the West Country.
I just remember seeing the kind of end of the cigarette like, lighting up in the dark.
That is a very vivid...
That's a very vivid
Yeah,
memory.
yeah, I remember that.
How old were you?
Fuck knows. Probably that was in kind of the very first house grew up in.
That doesn't give me a time frame.
And I think I left there when I was about three or four.
Wow.
So at
That's
some
really
point then,
early.
and I remember in the kind of one of the rooms we had alphabet wallpaper, and that's kind of a real clear image of seeing that wallpaper as well. I have another image that I don't know if it's kind of real or not, where my dad was attacking me with a garden rake. and for some reason that's always stayed in my mind. I see a lot of stuff in kind of life in kind of photographic pictures.
That's just memories.
Flashes.
Memories, George.
Yeah.
Flashbulb memories.
And get attacked by a rake. Wowza.
Yeah.
You are quite attackable though. You're probably doing something
I'd probably
wrong.
done something like naughty and
Were you a naughty child?
I was a really naughty child. I had to see a child psychologist.
I mean, I'm not shocked.
What for?
Because my younger brother is 10 years younger than me, and my mum was pregnant, so she was, I think, coming up to about 40, and I was just quite a naturally naughty child anyway, just always wanting attention and just getting up to mischief. And she was like, I cannot bring another child into this world with that that demon. So she kind of dragged us all along to a child psychologist. Had to go and see the GP first to be kind of referred. But so yeah, we went, and my older sister refused to talk. My dad didn't kind of bother to turn up, and my little sister was going through a phase where she used to think she was an animal. So she was trotting. She was trotting around the room like a horse, jumping over chairs, and I was going to say a table, but she wasn't quite that athletic. And I was just loving the attention. And then my mum doesn't kind of really believe in like ADHD and stuff like that. So whatever diagnosis I got, we never went back. But yeah,
We never went back.
I don't even know what to say in response to that.
I know that
How
is
old were
so
you? We could
not
probably,
what.
We could spend the rest of the time picking that apart. I
yeah.
think.
So I was 10, and and that's when, because I was 10 years older than my brother, and my mum just needed a bit of respite before she brought another one in. And I think she was kind of worried that she would kind of bring another one like me into the world, and she'd have to chuck it in a river in a bag with bricks.
Jesus.
I feel super shocked.
I thought
didn't expect
this
that.
podcast has revealed a whole new side.
But I had an amazing childhood. I just got kind of happy memories of dressing in my sister's clothes and and I had a great childhood. But what's everyone else's first memory?
You, Joe.
Mine is related to Dad's being mean, actually, after yours tried to get you with a rake.
Just wait a sec, just to clarify, that might be me making that story up before, I don't know, child services try and get hold of my dad. I'm obviously not a child anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say it's
It's fine now.
Only mentally.
Retrospect, yeah.
I used to climb up an apple tree and pretend to get stuck. So again, obviously I really liked attention as well. So I pretend to get stuck, so my dad had to come and help me get down from the apple tree. And he kept saying to me, like, one day, it's like the boy who cried wolf, one day you are going to get properly stuck. And one day I did, and he left me up there for hours because he thought I was pretending. He thought I was pretending. And my mum was like, where's Graham? He was like, oh, I don't know. And I was up the fucking tree for ages.
Chowing down on a lot of Granny Smiths.
all I've got is apples. Yeah.
That reminds me of a story actually of my older sister in kind of the second house that we moved to, Ham Lane, that she had an argument.
Is this written by Enid Blyton?
Puddle Lane or whatever. She is Enid Blyton Peter Rabbit in
No,
that's
it's Beatrix Potter.
Anyway, I digress. My older sister had an argument with my dad and ran away, but she just ran away to the wall at the bottom of the car. And I was like, what are you doing down here? And she was like, I'm running away. And she was kind of like marching back and forth along the wall in kind of protest. But yeah, that's an early memory of mine as well.
Going in the total opposite direction for myself, my earliest memory, this won't be surprising for people who know me, is I was directing a play.
Theatre game.
I know. I'll just preface this. I was a very, very. I learnt to speak at a very, very early age and was a really bossy little sod when I was a kid. So I used to tell everyone what to do, but I refused to walk for ages. So I literally just used to sit there and get people to do
Like
everything.
Professor Xavier.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like
in his
Professor
throne.
X. Exactly. So I remember I think this is when I was about 2, and it was with my grandparents one Christmas, and I decided that they were going to all be in a production of Snow White that I was doing. So I basically got my grandma to be Snow White, and then would tell them where they needed to stand, and then what they had to say and everything. So I was very like, you need to do this, Grandma. You need to do this. So yeah, I was very
Hitler.
Yeah, basically when I was a kid, I also wanted to take over the world.
How old were you?
Two.
Two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Why was he
Seems very
directing
complex.
it too? Yeah, that's
I-
so complex.
Staging a play.
No, I was just
hell?
really. It's because I watched a lot
Well
of TV.
advanced.
Yeah. You just learn it, and you're just like, but
This
yeah,
needs to happen.
exactly. So yes, I've always been very theatrical, I guess.
Yeah, it's sort of like you with that one. Because when I was bored, my legs were facing the wrong way around. So I
Oh, I forgot about your crazy
Yeah,
legs.
I've got spazzy legs.
Easily.
apparently I didn't kick enough in the womb. I was just chilling, and
You lost the use of them.
came out and the facing the wrong way around, and then my Achilles tendon had to be stretched as well. So I've been walking on my tiptoes, so they had to stretch that, and then they put pots on my legs with a bar between them. So for years I was sort of like had these pots on my legs to try and straighten them out.
God.
Yeah, like casts. It's like pot casts.
I was like,
I was thinking like Bill and Ben the flower pot.
Yeah. I was like, why you got like terracotta
So
on your
fucking
feet?
middle class.
What pot?
Pot is not
Yeah.
a
They're called
medical
pots.
term.
They're called pots.
Isn't it a cat?
Cat.
Yeah.
It could be a cast, but they call them pots as well. That's a word for it. Pots on your legs. Joe, fuck you all. And then, so I had that, and then I found out that in Trinidadian folklore,
Wow.
Because we're all up on that.
Yeah.
There's these things called the Duwen, which are the kids, the souls of lost children, and their legs are facing the wrong way around.
Oh.
So I'm a lost soul. But like you said, so I didn't walk for ages.
Oh, that's weird because
So I was always solving puzzles and all that sort of stuff. I was quite clever as a kid, but because I couldn't walk anywhere.
Yeah, because bizarrely when I did decide I wanted to walk,
When you decide
yeah,
conscious
when I-
decision.
my conscious decision to one day get up. I mean, I was
What are
really,
these? Leg things.
I also had a problem with like the way I used to walk on my tiptoes and stuff all the time as a
Me
kid.
too.
Yeah, like really bad. It was really hard, and I had to like heel toe. I had to like drill that into my head. essentially.
Catwalk.
I never needed a
Plant
pot.
pot.
Yeah, like essentially.
The plant pot.
But yeah, no, I struggled with the whole leg thing too.
Did you go straight to walking, or did you crawl first, or
Straight up.
Oh, I just got up one day. I just decided,
strolled around?
Just tiptoes.
and now I ride.
Scared the shit out of everyone.
He hobbitated.
I hobbitated exactly. Yeah. So yeah, okay. So earliest memories. Okay, well that's like a nice mixed bag of different things.
Medical problems and abuse.
Actually, another medical problem. I had a testicle which was too high and
long as it-
had to be
remember
lowered.
loads of
Yeah,
Where is it
I-
on your shoulder?
Yeah, Just hanging off. They thought it was a twin.
An ascended.
Yeah.
Have you still got
exactly.
that?
No.
Are they both low down?
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Is that
So
a common
one,
thing?
yeah, one is a little bit
Yeah.
higher.
That's one of those things like in primary school, if people find out that one guy in the class had it, it'd be like a source of ultimate ripping.
Primary
Like,
school.
Do you know what? You just reminded me of
You
something.
ain't got a taste of a fucking job.
Just reminded me of another memory that I was discussing the other day. I was in primary school. I must have been like year 1 or 2, so I must have been 5, 6. I don't know. And I was in the toilet, and there's a boy in there next to me, and he was weeing in the sort of the
Urinals.
the trough thing. Yeah. And he said, "Look at this." I turned around. He lifted his willy up against his tummy and weed on himself, and then said, "Can you do that?" I was like,
So did you?
I don't want to.
I think anyone could do that.
I think anyone can. I was like, and for some reason it came into my head like, "What a fucking weird child." He's probably
That
now gone
is
off to be a
really
murderer
weird.
or something.
That reminds me of primary school. Actually, some of my favourite memories are from primary school, being in the Nudie Rudy gang, which we were about 5 or 6 as well. And we
You
were,
have a thing about being naked.
What the hell?
We were in the playground and we kind of hid ourselves. It was me. I won't say their names.
Early friendship.
Me and some
It was
friends.
me, a girl and a boy, and we kind of put coats over our head. I think we must have been about 6 or 7, and we started showing each other our bits. And we called ourselves the Nudie Rudy Gang, and the girl in question had a birthmark on her fanny.
Oh God.
And so anyway, we showed each other our bits. I don't think there was any touching involved. And then, and then the dinner lady came and pulled the coats off our heads. But yeah, that's one of my earliest primary school memories. Because when you started talking about like testicles and stuff then in primary school, I was like, Jesus, what primary school did you go to? Why are you showing each other's bits?
No, but I remember that
Kids
primary
do
school.
that,
Yeah,
though.
I remember that primary school. Like, people showing themselves because it's like curiosity. Like,
Yeah.
it's complete
Yeah.
Like monkeys
curiosity.
touching each
Yeah.
other's bits.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like, and it's like, oh, you've got this.
Well, you don't know
I
what
don't
anything
have
is.
that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I got sent home from primary school for not wearing knickers and doing handstands.
Was this last week?
I just went into a playground and started doing handstands.
Did you do this on purpose?
I don't know. I can just remember my parents being like, "You've got to wear pants to school.
You got to wear pants.
You've
So
got to wear
promiscuous.
pants." I know. I was obviously like,
Well, I mean, you would have got away with it if you hadn't been doing your handstand.
yeah.
Were you just casually doing Sharon Stone under the desk?
Crossing your
To the
legs.
teacher.
Obviously liked handstands.
Show and tell.
Why didn't you put your pants on? I don't get
I'm a
it.
free spirit, Joe.
I mean, not
Just
very,
like the feel of the breeze.
Fresh air,
it's very
yeah.
freeing,
So
yeah.
natural.
Yeah.
Air it
Summertime,
out.
summer dress. I'm not wearing pants.
Summer dresses
Do
at
you wear them
school.
in winter?
I don't. This was one occasion. I'm pretty sure I wore pants after that.
I remember wearing shorts actually in primary school, like 24/7. kind of the whole year, winter.
All the time.
Yeah,
You're
just
sort of
always.
private, sure. Like weird private school.
No,
Is that
no.
not a uniform?
No, and actually, just another funny memory from primary school is there was a boy who was kind of a bit mental, and he.
Was this you?
For some reason, I don't know what their use was, but it was a weird little metal ring which hung off the wall in the playground, and he used to sit there with a battery, kind of bashing two batteries together next to the ring as though he was going to blow up the school. He never succeeded, but yeah,
That's
it was-
crazy. He sounds crazy.
he was
Yeah, he
crazy.
sounds- Did you go to a special school?
Yeah.
He must have done. Must have been
Is it one of these
ADHD
free
then.
schools?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can do
Style.
Everyone in the Nudie Rudy.
You went to a nudist school. Yeah.
Hashtag Nudie Rudy, I think. No, do you
Primary school.
ever, looking back to primary school, do you have that sort of memories of weird kids? Because you always had the one that had the snot coming down here,
Snotty.
like banging his head against the wall, and you're like, he's quite
One
clearly either
with
dead
nits.
now or nits.
Oh, nits were
My
big.
brother always had bloody nits.
I've never had nits.
Haven't you?
You must have done it somewhere.
must
Not
have
like
had
never
nits.
had nits.
every child had it at some point,
Well, I
surely.
fucking haven't.
I like the
so
smell
back
of the
off.
knit lotion that you used to have on your hair.
Who likes the smell of that?
Oh, Joel, that's gross. It was so
Do
disgusting.
you like enjoy having crabs now with this subject?
Don't talk to me about crabs.
Oh.
Twice survived.
Okay, well let's not talk about crabs in the childhood episode.
No, I remember like you were saying about nits. I remember there was the one kid at school where you could actually
Always
look and you
had
see
nits.
the head.
Yeah,
Oh,
moving.
The scalp was moving.
It's hideous.
We had a family down the road from me, scum, and the kids were always wearing nappies in the street. And always
I hate
full of
that.
shit, and their house stunk. And I was sort of friends with them because I was playing out with them. And then, do you ever have the smelly kid in school where if you
Yeah.
went into their house,
Yeah.
you'd go home, and then your mum would be like, "Where the fuck have you been? Because you fucking stink!" And it sticks on your clothes, and then you stink your own house out. But yeah, smelly children, nits.
Oh,
Fucking gross.
I remember there was a boy in our PE class. Well, he was in our class the whole time, but I particularly remember him in PE when you'd have all this different apparatus and you'd have to crawl up the
Oh, I love
kind of
that.
little
Yeah.
That was the
ladder.
best
and
thing.
Oh my
then
god, remember the benches?
onto a platform.
Yeah.
The benches with the hooky bits over the end.
Yes.
They were fucking great for everything.
Um,
Well, if you like, they'd like put them upside down for like a
Yeah.
balance game,
Yeah.
or they'd like hook them onto
Ooh.
the
So
things on
many
the walls,
options.
or onto other things. Or
They're amazing,
They
though,
are
yeah.
amazing. They're like anyway, sorry.
We-
I like the ropes.
Oh,
I like the
ropes.
ropes. Yeah.
But there's a flood in my
You
school,
know when
so
did
they
you have
couldn't
those
pull 'em
like
out.
big like bars on the wall?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know when they came out, you're up
And
for
they
like a
like
fucking
shout.
amazing.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
like
yeah.
a
Never
good
got
lesson.
them out.
They never
No.
like when they did like the ropes and the benches. You'd be like so excited. Oh my fucking
Yeah.
God.
SPE ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's one thing at my old school. We had those, but then there was a flood, so they put a new ceiling in, but they put it in too low down, so we couldn't actually put it in.
Oh no, that's the worst.
So like, there's ropes there, there's a new climbing frame, couldn't use any of it.
Oh no.
Did you ever do country dancing?
Yes, well in
Yeah.
Scotland you do
No.
social.
Oh, we didn't-
You do, in
have to do it in
Scotland you
Scotland.
do social dance, so you do all the Ceilidh dancing in school.
We
And, like,
did
it's great
maypole.
'cause
We did
all know
maypole
them now.
dancing,
We all
yeah.
know them, like at weddings or Ceilidhs, we
Yeah.
know the
That's
dances
quite
now.
fun though.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really
really
fun.
nice.
Well, like in S1, which is like the first year of secondary school in Scotland, you fucking hated it because you're all like 11, 12, everyone wants to touch each other. By the time you get to like the end of high school, you fucking love it. Like you're like, yes, heritage.
I didn't learn any dances.
No, I
Did you
didn't
know?
know that.
No, nothing like
Well,
that.
we had to do maypole dancing. I do remember
We did
that.
that. I mean, every now and then they get whipped the maple
Yeah,
and
in
skip
and out with the
around.
little ribbons. Yeah,
In
yeah,
the
yeah.
Midlands,
Oh,
we're
we didn't
far
even
too
do
busy
that.
for things.
You did maypole dancing in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the maypole. Like, you've all got a ribbon, each all run
It's-
around it,
It's
and
not
then go
quite
the other way.
pagany though.
It's quite. It was quite a Sussex.
Well, then we
thing.
sacrifice a lamb.
It's quite Sussex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they do in
I thought
loads
it
of
was
schools in
Irish.
Sussex.
No.
Maple
We had a lot of.
It's
I went
originally
to-
like from Scandinavia.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I've no idea. I mean, the
really
outfits
shit.
people wear it would suggest something like that. But
It's
yeah.
really crap. What you do is go round in a circle, wrap
Yeah.
the pole up, then
It's
go
not
back
quite.
the
It's
other
not
way and
quite
unravel it.
complex though. You have to like.
You have to go in. You have
a
to go
lot
in
of
and out a
weaving.
certain way. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't do that. I never thought it was that sounds...
It is. We. I
Guys
think.
just running
Intermediate.
You're wrapping kids up against the pole.
I think we did it to develop like pathfinding skills. I think that's what it's. You know, like oh, this is the right way to go, so you don't walk into something.
I mean, I'd be tempted to piss around with that now, let alone when I was a child. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Joel, what were you saying about
Sorry,
this
yeah.
kid
Yeah.
in
Interrupt-
PE?
sorry.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
so you'd have to wear your white PE kind of outfit,
Yeah.
and so when you'd be crawling up the ladder, he always had skid marks in his shorts.
Oh.
So, and the teacher was like, "Come on, move faster, move faster!" And there'd just be a massive bunch of kids at the bottom of the ladder watching him waddle up with his ass in the air and this massive skid mark.
Oh.
And he was the stinky kid.
He wasn't the stinky kid. I think he did wet himself
Stained
next
kid.
to me once. But we had a snotty, we had a sticky, we had.
I had a dream that I was going out with the stinky kid from my high school
No.
the other day.
Oh.
It was really, and I couldn't work out in my dream why I was going out with him.
Mm.
I was just going out, and I woke up and I was like, fucking hell, that was bad. What the fuck was I doing going out with
Smelly kid.
smelly kid? I won't say his name.
Are there any teachers that kind of stick in your mind from?
Yes.
Yes,
One
Mrs.
of them,
Wyman.
a lady, what was her name? Miss Shields. And I remember I was queuing up to get my book marked. I think it was maths. My yellow book with little squares in. And I was all queuing up, and I got to her, she was working through, and she trumped really loudly.
we had in primary school we had the legend of Miss Gray, who I think it was actually true. She was insane. Like she should not have been teaching. Like now, we're like near a school. She literally threw a chair out like a child and broke their leg, and yet somehow came back again. Like they let her back into school. And like, I remember sitting in assembly, and like you heard things about her, so everyone would dread getting her as like your teacher. I don't think I ever did.
I remember that. Yeah,
And like
we
we'd
used
be
to
in
dread the certain
assembly, and like, I
teachers.
think some kid was like pissing around doing the, you know, you do the songs in assembly, or something like, "Meow," and some kid was pissing around with like the book, and like apparently just in mid song she was like, "Stop pissing around with that book! I'll shove it down your throat!" And we were like,
We had Mrs. Oldfield who used to smoke cigars in the playground.
Wow, she sounds amazing.
She looked like a sort of evil version of a cross between Mrs. Doubtfire, Lily Savage, and
Oh my god, she sounds
from
amazing.
Murder She Wrote.
Oh, Angela
Angela Lansbury.
She used to smoke cigars on the playground.
Wow.
She used
"How
to-
the hell did she get away with that?"
No fucking
Well,
clue. It's
no-
back in the day, mate.
Yeah,
Blackpool.
years
Blackpool.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't do it now.
I do love the names that like nicknames that kids come up with for teachers. Like in my secondary school, we had a maths teacher called Deaf Breath McCref. Mainly because he had like the worst halitosis ever. Like every time he came, you used to be like, I never want to be near this man. I don't want him to check my work or anything because he'll literally stink the place out. And he'd be like, ooh, and it literally used to make me gag. It was so disgusting, his halitosis.
That's the thing with teachers, though, isn't it? A lot
Yeah.
of them do have halitosis.
Yeah, well, it's because all they do is drink coffee all day.
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it? Yeah. And then for our RE teacher, she was called Jesus Jones.
You're joking.
No, that was her nickname. It wasn't actually. I'm not going to use her real name, but but no, she was Jesus Jones. And then we had for history Mrs. Warman.
Do you ever play with the gas taps?
Oh my god, I was about to say that
Oh.
because my school was a great combination of really wealthy people and really dodgy people where the catchment area was, which always ended up really hilarious. And like, did you have those kids in school that you could like? There was some that were a bit chavvy and a bit mental, but there was always like a couple of kids that really didn't give a fuck, and they were kind of scary because of it. Like they would just do anything; they didn't give a fuck the consequences. There was a girl who would just like start throwing like we'd be in like woodwork class, just like throwing knives at people, and like guys, and like there was this one guy who sat there holding like test tube tongs over the Bunsen burner for like 5 minutes. Just not doing anything, and then just clamped it to a girl's arm.
Oh my god!
And he just pissed himself like,
Oh
with
my
laughter.
God.
And the girl was so dramatic, she's like, "What the fuck you doing?"
Wow, that's hardcore.
Okay, that's
Yeah, it was
not
like chicken
high
who would
school.
leave the gas taps on the longest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they put the Bunsen burner near it in case it didn't blows up the school. Were any of us naughty in school?
I was really naughty.
I think I wasn't like constantly naughty, but I was a bit of an outcast. I think with that comes a bit of like.
Is it because we were yellow and had a triangle?
Because I was yelling and I hadn't gone away by that point. I think it was like one of those things where I was a bit of an outcast, so obviously people bullied me, and like, but I'd see red. So if people, it's like that classic way where someone would do something, but I was stupid at that point. They knew to do it like when the teacher wasn't looking, but they probably so long that I would just like blow, and,
Yeah.
like, smack them with
Yeah,
the
you
French
were like,
whip, like
no,
the French dictionary, like straight in the face, and the teacher turned around and be like, "Out!"
It's always the ones who kind of get bullied and are a bit outcast. That they're like the mental ones.
Yeah.
who will
Yeah,
flip
do you
in-
ever have like? 'Cause I remember primary school, like it's kind of scary when you think about it. I think you don't have that sense of like you need to calm down. But in primary school, like seeing red so much,
Yeah.
that you would chase someone down and like beat them like, with a rock. Like,
I remember a kid with a magnet.
I remember chasing a kid with a rock in primary school because he pissed me off so much. Like if I caught him, like probably would have smashed his head. Like,
Kids are savages.
Yeah,
Like, you can
like-
do like, but you can also take a lot as a kid as well. Like, it's like this thing, you know, when
It's all
people
learning.
when people have babies and they're so like, oh god, I don't want to drop it, and actually you could drop a baby and it'd be fine.
I accidentally tipped up the pram with my sister in it when she was a baby. So no one else was in the room, so I quickly just kind of flipped it back up and put the...
Joel, you're the type of person who I can imagine, like, you know, in those classic like cartoons when they've got like a baby sister or something like that, and they're on a hill and they just want to push the pram down the hill.
It's like,
But talking about that crazy kid, I remember a boy called Whiff who attacked me in...
Whiff.
Who
calls their child Whiff?
No,
really
that wasn't his
is
real
right.
name, that was a nickname. But yeah, Whiff. And he was playing table tennis, and I think I knocked the ball that they were playing with, and he attacked me with the table tennis bat, but not the flat side. He flipped it around on
Ooh.
the edge and started belting me on the head.
And that's the end of that story.
I remember, like, when I was in sort of like primary school, I was quite a good kid, and I'd say probably the first 2 years of secondary school, I was quite, an A-star student. I was always merits and all this, and then something went wrong in sort of the last 3 years.
Hormones.
I just became a fucking evil little bastard. I was never naughty, like the naughty kids in school, but I was always really gobby. Might be surprised by that fact.
You as you go older, you can become quite manipulative. I remember becoming quite aware, like in about year 10, you start realising how people perceive you and all this kind of stuff, particularly with teachers. And I always was quite a good student. And as such, when you're a good student, you can get away with bloody murder.
Nerd.
So I just used to stop showing up at lessons. Showing off at lessons.
Juggling knives.
You're right about the perception thing. So I remember that because like through the first half of secondary school, people would be like, "Oh, you're gay boy, faggot." And I thought it was
They
just
say
like
that
an
now.
insult. Yeah, people say that. But I thought it was just a general insult, and then it's when later on that I realised that I sounded a bit gay and acted a bit gay. It's like that is that perception.
And you're
thing.
wanking boys off.
Yeah, that too. In the hallway.
Prayer.
Prayer?
I was imagining you go to a religious school. I don't know why.
No.
I don't know why.
My mum would not have done that.
That's true.
Do you remember ever kind of having, when you first started having feelings or your first wank or...
I love that. Like we went from
Primary school to
talking
first
about
one.
school
Yeah.
to sex. This is where
Again.
everyone's minds are. But go on, Joel. Do you remember that?
How old were you?
I remember I used to have to share a room with my sister, I think it was. At the time we had bunk beds.
Whatever the story is.
And I was snogging my pillow. I was pretending to snog my pillow.
were you lying?
You pretending it was a
Face
man?
down.
I was lying face down, and I think I was imagining it was a bloke. And then I opened my eyes and looked to the left, and my grampy was stood there. And because he was babysitting for us, and he had come to like tuck my sister in or something like that, and I was just tugging my pillow. So I looked to my left, and he's just stood there looking at me, and then I just kind of nuzzled in and pretended I was like just trying to get comfy to sleep. And
If I
then,
didn't think anything of it, because you're already quite a crazy man.
so I think I was probably about maybe like 10 or 11 then, and then I remember kind of having. I actually clearly remember being kind of out on the streets playing with like friends, and we were talking about.
Playing with friends or like playing with friends?
Joe's face is like a range of emotions.
It's like out on the streets.
This wasn't the Nudie Rudy gang. This was, and
Are they still together?
Have you disbanded by this point?
yeah, we disbanded. And I was on my bike and I was talking to, I think it's like an older girl, and we were talking about like masturbating and wanking off, and I obviously didn't really know what I was talking about, and so I went to reference what wanking off was, but instead of kind of it's difficult to kind of visualize it maybe, but where your hands down the shaft, I had my hand on top and I was kind of just wiggling it side to side as though it's like a gear stick. Yeah, so I was just furiously doing like that, like wanking off, like and like everyone just kind of looked at me like, what's he doing? And, like, I just cycled off.
You just left.
When did you realise that's not how it's done?
I don't know. I think
Very recently.
Yeah. Like last night, he's like, "What are you doing? You're not driving a car."
Stop kissing your pillow. I'm over here.
But yeah, that's kind of my first kind of memories of when things below started.
I think I remember the sex ed in primary school, so when it started happening, I feel like I was aware of it, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Wasn't it like terrifying, oh my god, what the fuck is this? It was like, what is intercourse? And I just written, intercourse is when the woman inserts her vagina in the man's penis. And I was like, you're not quite right.
Almost
Not
there.
quite ready.
Not quite ready.
So yeah, how about family holidays? What kind of crazy family holidays did you guys have?
Well, I remember going away with my Uncle Harry in the caravan. And
Just you? Too?
it's just the pair of us, yeah. And once again, I used to piss the bed, so... I'm very so pissy. And I remember him just having to, like, hose me down every morning.
Like an animal.
I'd sit there, like, bollock naked, just like...
Like a Shire pony.
I
I don't know, I've just got an image of, because you're quite hairy and
I'm not
long,
hairy at
fluffy
all.
hair. No, I mean on top of your head, yeah.
No.
We used to always go on a lot of kind of camping holidays in down to like Bridgewater and Minehead and just all getting a tent together.
Where else,
Very
Joel?
simple.
Please list more camping locations.
to be specific, Mill Farm. And I remember exactly when it was. It was 1992 when the Barcelona Olympics were because we were all in the family playroom and Linford Christie won the gold medal.
I've got such a good memory. It's really weird.
I've got a good long-term memory to stuff back. I had a happy childhood, and family holidays and all being away together is something that definitely sticks in my mind. And going to Newquay and in the caravans and yeah.
There's always Butlins for us. Oh, and the chalets at Butlins.
I've never been to that.
We went to Oasis
I've always
once.
wanted to go.
We once
That was fun.
went to the Pontins in Cambuslang, not as an actual thing. It was almost like, this is really bad, it's going to sound really snobby. But basically, we'd never been to one because I've been really lucky and always went abroad and stuff when I was a kid. And I remember we went to Pontins and it was like going to the zoo for us. It's like, oh my god, this is what normal
It's like
people
going to the
do.
zoo. This is terrible.
I mean, I can confirm it sounds snobby.
Yeah, no, it does. No, it's awful. But I just remember going, being like, "Oh no, mummy, I don't like it here."
There's all these little curls in.
No.
Massive lollipop.
Mummy, these poor people. No, but we. I remember going to Crete when I was younger, and
You can't flush the toilets there, can you?
I don't know actually. I
don't
can't
know where I
remember
got
that.
that from.
I think you can.
I think you can. I mean, otherwise there's a real,
It's not a
real like
third world
waste problem.
It's like that in Portugal. You can't put blue paper down the toilet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you
It's
can,
like
That
I
was
remember-
like 20 years
No,
ago.
that's,
They have
I went to
still-
Portugal
Yeah, they
last
haven't
year.
taken the
The
signs
guy on
down,
Airbnb
still
was like, you have to wipe and then put it in the bin.
Stuff away.
Ooh, it's so gross, isn't it? That's why the loo smell always in those countries, isn't it?
Wipe
I
the
know,
bin.
let's not go there, Lee. Far too low class.
No, but my
You go on holiday with your Sun coupon. Terrible state of affairs.
no, like Joel, I have a really vivid memory connected to a sporting event actually. So we were in Crete and it was Euro '96, and I remember my dad. I can't remember when he'd gone off or something like that. It was just me, my mum, and my two sisters, and England had just scored a goal, and I think this is what got them into the semi-finals. And she got so excited that she like flung her arms up, and the candle like fell over on the table and set light to the tablecloth, and then all of a sudden it spread to another table. So literally, she was like started burning the restaurant down, and I was like, oh my god! So like, it's this real like celebratory moment tinged with kind of, oh my god,
Awesome.
yeah. I mean, a little bit. I remember writing about that in my school journal when I got back.
I read my diary the other week from when I was like
Did you?
15. And I had to rip out all of it and rip it up.
Can you give us a
in
bit of
case-
a
Tell
taste?
us a
No.
story.
What did it
Come
say?
on.
It was awful.
You have to tell us now.
So it's about like who I fancied, like generally
Yeah.
who I fancied at the time, and it was just like, so Dave asked me out today, and then we didn't speak at school, but then we're speaking on MSN in the evening. and it's amazing. And then the next day it'd be like, I still like Dave, but then Matt started talking to me.
Oh!
I know. And then at the end of each day, I'd put like I heart and whoever I fancied.
That
And then
day.
that day.
Very fickle. Very
Mental.
fickle.
I'd read it and I'd be like, so me and Dave have split up, and now I'm going out with John, but Matt's still speaking to me. So
Fucking
I
hell.
know. I'll
Did you
say
get through the whole year?
no.
In a week.
Yeah. So I've had to destroy it in case anybody ever
People
really.
realise you're a
Was it all on
pussy.
MSN, the chat? Because,
No, we did have
Like-
we would meet up at the end of break and hold hands
oh, that's
Oh.
cute.
and not speak.
Yeah, just
Yeah, no,
You
but
know, when
that's,
all your mates are like, "Well, here's your boyfriend. You're going to spend any time with him at lunchtime today," and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, I'll spend the last 2 minutes."
yeah.
Just hold hands.
You shouldn't have destroyed it.
I mean, I
It's
really,
like an artifact,
really
like
should.
The next Anne Frank here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, she got it.
I'm Frank Odyssey years.
Oh my God, no.
I remember trying to break into my older sister's diary with a pencil, and it snapped off like in the lock. So
Couldn't get in.
because she couldn't get into it, so they had to like get pliers. My grandpa had to get pliers and just kind of snap into it.
Well, then she couldn't lock it anymore. Could she?
Yeah, but yeah.
Do you remember sort of like boyfriends, girlfriends from high school?
Yeah, I remember from high school. Yeah.
Jumper them from primary school.
Well, we only had 2 boys in our year. in
Oh,
primary
wow.
school. There were only
Really?
12 of us in my
Oh, you had a
year.
small one. We only had 18 actually.
Yeah.
So.
there were
Yeah,
only
fair.
like. Oh no, there
Loads
were
of mine.
three boys. But yeah, so
You've got a choice of
there
3.
was
It's like blind date.
one that I fancied,
Why are they?
but then he generally went out with this other girl.
The hot one.
Very upsetting. The hotter one at the time.
The less plain one.
I remember.
That's
I
the
remember in primary school. Must have been like year 1 or 2, like really early, like around the time of the guy pissing on his stomach, and I was like knocking on this girl, and her name was Julia Davis. I was still friends with her on Facebook, and I remember turning around to her in the playground and saying, "Will you be my girlfriend?"
Oh,
Did she say
And
yeah?
then she said, "Yeah," and we were girlfriends in that.
Childhood like romance is a
We
really
didn't shag
sweet.
or anything.
No.
Year 4.
Just I just want to clarify that bit. No, childhood romances are sweet.
Yeah, they're just very innocent. It's just like it's like holding hands and
Yeah.
and if you did ever kiss, it was like the biggest deal in the world.
Oh my god,
Oh,
my
yeah.
first kiss was awful.
Joel's with his pillow.
Why was it so bad?
Because it's round the back of the medical centre where my mum works.
Fucking hell.
How old were you?
I must have been in year 7, so first year of high school before the
So what's
Scottish.
that?
Thank you.
11.
We're gonna get a little chart printed out because it does confuse me.
Thanks.
That's one.
And
That's one.
it was me and my boyfriend walking back with like 2 of my girl mates, and it was just so pressured. It was like obviously like me and my friends had decided today was the day that I was gonna snog my boyfriend. We just went round the back of the.
Did they all crowd around you?
No, we went round the back of the medical centre out of sight,
Right.
and it was just really fucking scary and yeah.
Yeah.
Just awful.
I remember when I was in, so it must have been
Sorry,
in
Luke.
primary school. Oh, Luke! Old washing machine mouth.
Continue after that. Were you and Luke still together?
We were for a bit, but after we split up, he licked some spit that was on the floor for 50p outside duty.
I fucking love Luke.
That put me off.
50p.
I know.
Yeah.
Why would you
escape?
Yeah, you never went anywhere.
We
near
were
anyone's
not
house.
going out at the time.
Back then, you could get a lot for 50p. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
You
But
could
not-
get like 5 chocolate bars.
You really could, yeah.
And a
exactly.
pack of Space Invaders.
But not like not the pills to get rid of syphilis. You just licked off the pavement.
Joel's like, oh, he lit some spit.
We used to have kind of kissing competitions. We used to have kissing competitions where it would be
With
how
people.
long. Yeah, when I progressed from pillows
Pillars to people.
To actual
Joel
people.
Ross story.
autobiography title there.
Yeah.
And yeah, we would just roll around in the woods kissing as well as possible. And there would be,
For as
I
long
think it
as
was
possible.
Fat Sam, this quite big,
Fat Sam?
this big beefy chunky girl.
She's fat, she called my
And
gerbil.
our other 2 friends just sat there on these logs, and we just kind of led. We just led in the bushes and rolled around snogging.
Lead.
Lead.
Laid.
Oh, lead.
Lead. Lead is a urban Bristol word
For laying.
for laying. Yeah, lead.
Lead.
We led on the ground.
Wait, was Fat Sam a girl?
Yeah.
And
So
how?
were they
What
just
was your
watching?
record? How long?
I think it was about 10 minutes.
Of
Yeah.
pure
my-
snogging, no stopping.
Pure snogging, lots of saliva. My friends got bored. We came to and they've gone. I remember the first time I went out trying to look older, obviously, and wearing my dad's shoes, which absolutely... they were like 3 sizes too small, so my feet were in absolute bits when I got back. But it was just amazing to get out. And,
You'd sort of wear your dad's shoes if they were bigger.
Yeah.
yeah.
3 sizes.
Why is it just stick to
Yeah.
your own?
Also, when do people look at me with shoes?
Well, they do. Like you'd have to back in.
Yeah, you couldn't wear trainers. You
Oh
had to
yeah,
wear
that's true. No,
shoes.
that's true.
You
That
just had
is
to
true.
wear
just
shoes.
worn your
about
own.
what you were when you were trying to get in.
Yeah.
Me and my mates would be like planning
Yeah.
what you had to wear. And when we were getting into Yates's underage,
Oh.
the big thing was at the time you had to have like a necktie, and that made you look old now.
Fuck
Like a
off.
pink lady.
Like a little like black necktie.
Like an air
God.
hostess.
And we'd be like, yeah, we definitely look 18 with this.
We used to take my friend Jade out with us, who had big tits. It'd always
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah.
that would
Or
help.
my friend
Big
Tom,
tits is
he was like really beardy, like quite a young, like from the age of 14 essentially, he could get served at a bar. So we always used to make him get all of our drinks, the WKDs and the Bacardi
I
Breezes.
love it.
All about
I vividly remember.
WKD Blue. Oh,
Oh.
I love it. I remember my first night out, I had to get taken home with my friend Andy, and the maths teacher and head of maths was out at the same place. And they had to drive us home because we missed the last bus on a Thursday night, and we still had school the next day. And next day we were really hungover. Like, I think it was our first proper hangover. And we were just like, bleh, like all of us
Oh,
throwing
God.
up. And then they had to look after us all day.
You had a hangover young. I didn't think I had a hangover until I was 22.
No,
Oh,
God,
man,
yeah,
no,
definitely
my first
hangover, it's
hangover I
like-
was 13.
Really?
15, 16, yeah.
Oh god, I used to be able to drink whatever I wanted.
Oh,
and just,
man, I
like,
remember.
go for
Usually
it.
when you're younger, you just stick to one drink. And
That's
you drink
true.
too much, and like
Yeah.
for me,
You're
it's
tipsy.
Bacardi. And like I drank too much Bacardi. Was sick. And we were camping, and we were sick all in the tent, and that
Oh.
is
Like when I was
scarred
camping, I
me
drank
of
too much
Bacardi.
Caribbean Twist, and even seeing Caribbean Twist on a shelf somewhere, like I'm like, ooh,
That's like me with
yeah.
Bacardi. It's just like, oh
No.
What Bacardi Breezes?
no Bacardi,
Actually.
which
Yeah.
is turns out to be the worst drink ever invented.
I love Bacardi. It turns me into a basic bitch, but I have a great time.
Anyway, going slightly back on topic.
Let's go back
'cause we-
to youth
we- Yeah,
again.
yeah. So
Through the life cycle on the
Three-
top
I know. I'm quite enjoying that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
kind of.
it's nice.
Do we remember going back to school? Because school's always a great topic. Do you remember the first day of school? Does anybody remember
Yes.
Yeah.
how you felt?
Yeah.
I remember the first day of primary school and the first day of secondary school, like both with equal like terrified.
Well, they are big, like important moments in
Yeah,
our lives.
I remember
so-
I remember my mum taking me to primary school with a cardigan that was like a foot too long off my arm. She was like, "You'll grow into it," and it was like flapping around like, and like plastic lunchbox. It was blue. I can't remember what was on it.
I don't think I had
Time.
turtles on mine.
I don't think it was. I
And it was
can't remember
blue.
what I had. And I absolutely was just peeing myself. And like when your mum leaves, you just want to like cry and you can't deal with it. And it's the worst thing in the world.
Sorry, during that story,
What happened
Lady
there?
G decided to check herself out in the mirror.
I think
My eyelash
I
was
think I just saw all the way up your nostrils the way you looked.
So all the way for us. Where it's turned around.
I had a really sore eyelash.
I was all right at art. I didn't.
Why does that not surprise
Well, I
you?
didn't-
Look,
when-
you drew those pictures.
When I didn't do art for GCSEs because of the kind of subjects, couldn't move them around. So I did art. I did the easy subjects basically. At A level, I did art, sport, and drama. And art was I wasn't very technical. I was very I was very abstract with my art, and so it's very stick people and geometric shapes.
I
And
mean, I
then
feel like I could have done
for
that.
for my exam piece, I really excelled. We had to choose a topic, a headline, and produce a piece of art from that. So I chose Lost, or it's Found, Lost or Found, and
Not the TV show.
not the TV show. And I made my brother lie down in the bath, and I took
This Nudie Rudy.
I took pictures of him lying in the bath, and then I did this. My art piece was about a boy who had gone missing and then been found. So I took pictures of my brother in the bath, like lying down as though we'd found him in the river, and then I drew this picture. I've gone complete off on tangent here, but I drew this picture of him, and then I set it up in the main corridor of the school with an ashtray with loads of cigarettes and ash and bottles strewn all around them.
This sounds very creative. I like that.
Yeah,
they wouldn't let
that
me.
was-
They wouldn't let me take art in high school beyond like standard grade. because
Really?
They were like because I couldn't do the life. There was so much like bloody drawing because I couldn't draw. The art teacher was like, "No, you can't do art. You can't draw."
I remember a pigeon, it could have been any bird, but did a shit on our PE teacher's head. He was stood talking to us and he just started rubbing his head. He was bald, and then he was like, he was northern, he was like, I won't do an accent, but he was like, shit, what just happened?
You shit?
Like, yeah, and a bird had shit on his head.
You just reminded me.
You're gonna live for that
a
when you're at school.
PE teacher I had was showing us what obviously used that we were in the gym room, whatever it was, and he was showing us how to do these things. He was sat on the floor, and we all sat opposite him while he was showing us this thing, and you could see his testicles.
Oh my
quite
god!
exposed testicles popping out of his shorts
Oh
at the
my
bottom.
god!
Never seen that pants on.
We had a really fit trainee PE teacher at high school who was teaching us football, and me and my friends always used to be
Sniff
like,
his
can
knickers."
you show us like one of those high kicky things again? Because when he did, you could see his willy in his shorts.
Oh,
You
Claire!
pervert.
He was fit, Mr. Mitchell.
Was he young as well because he was a
Yeah,
trainee?
he was young. He was like 20.
Yes, he wouldn't have been much older than you.
Yeah, they're always the good ones, aren't
Yeah,
they?
you're like, oh.
We had one called Mrs. Fisher, who was our PE teacher, and she used to always wear a netball skirt. So when we were in
All the time.
all the time, like winter, come rain or
Fit.
shine, and we were in the swimming pool. Whenever we had to swim when it was absolutely freezing, she would be walking really close to the edge, and we could all just see up her netball
Oh,
skirt.
wowzers.
And she had like massive thunder thighs, which were chaffing and sweaty.
Oh.
Chaffing.
Chafing.
Chaffing.
Chaffing. That's a word, man.
No, it's not a word, Joel. It's one of yours.
Joel's dictionary.
So, when you were a kid, what did you think you would be? So, what did you think as a job that you would do when you
I
were
either
older?
wanted to be a postman or an astronaut. I can't decide at what age my aspirations either went up or went down. I can't remember which one was first. I obviously thought I could be a postman or possibly an astronaut.
Why a
It's nice.
postman? It's a nice job.
Yeah, I find something fascinating about how the postal system must have worked. I mean,
How's my letters going?
how do they organise that many letters? I mean, I still wonder about it sometimes. I mean, how do they do it? How do they do it in time?
It's
How
never
do
too late to change your career, you. And if you want to go into Her Majesty's
I mean,
Royal
I love
Postal
being
Service.
outside. I mean, not good in the morning though. So I need to be like.
Oh, you'd be shit at
I need
that.
to be like an afternoon postman.
I always wanted to be as a kid, I really, really wanted to be a scientist.
Just general
Like a,
science.
just professor. Like that was it.
Like a mad
I was,
scientist.
like basically like chemical. I was as a kid. I
Chemicals
always
and
had
fire.
like chemistry sets and all that sort of stuff. I used to love it, and yeah, and I don't know what went wrong, but yeah, I just wanted to be a scientist, and then I wanted to be a journalist.
I always wanted to be a pilot when I was a kid.
Nice.
Really, really loved planes. Like
Not a
when,
playwriter.
No, well, that's no, that's
You retired
surprising.
from playwriting.
Yeah, I retired early from the stage.
Laurence Olivier over it.
But no, I think when I was about 14 though, and I then got obsessed with like movies, and that's when I kind of developed my current tastes, I guess, of everything that we've got. Lady G, what about you?
I think when I was really young, I was like Joel's sister, and I wanted to be a horse really bad.
That's what you said. A horse.
Horse.
I
Yeah.
just really wanted to be a horse. I got to you died with all them boys.
Yeah. I wanted to be a horse, and then when I realised I probably couldn't be a horse, even though I tried really
Oh, I'm
hard.
sorry.
I know, I'd be wicked as well.
Yeah.
Great
I would
horse.
have been a palomino.
Obviously.
Just saying. Then I wanted to be a vet
Oh.
until I realised I wasn't clever enough. So
Yeah, being a
I
doctor of any
went
sort.
by the wayside.
That's like me. I wanted to be a marine biologist, but I think I just like the title.
Did you
I
like
like
sea
fish.
animals?
I
yeah,
like
yeah.
fish.
Yeah.
You could wear
Sea
swimming
lions.
shorts.
Yeah,
Oh.
could have. I wouldn't have said I was fat
I like
back then.
fish and sea
Famous
lions.
Fat Joe. I was fat back then.
Oh,
I wouldn't
Were you
have done
fat?
that. I was fat, yeah.
Yeah.
How far?
Yeah, 16 stone.
Wow.
wow.
I probably really fancied you.
Huh? Should we chase you?
Should we?
You
Should we
could
go?
have gone
Yeah.
out with Gary.
Yeah, that'd been it if you were still fat.
That
Never
is
mind.
really fat.
Yeah.
How did you lose weight?
Well, I tried skipping every day.
I just love the image of this fat
In the
kid
back
skipping.
garden.
How,
And I
how
did go
long
a
that
dangerous
last?
route. About 4 years.
You skipped every day for half an hour for 4 years.
Well, yeah. I did
Wow.
quite a lot.
Then did you have a gastric
But-
band?
Fucking
No, I
hell.
didn't have a gastric band. I went a bit dark and had like an apple a day and hardly ate, which was a bit unhealthy.
Did you go a bit bulimic?
Just a bit.
No, I didn't do bulimia.
I mean, I'm going
I
to
did
say an apple a
anorexia.
day is definitely a little bit unhealthy.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I was like,
Well, an apple isn't
no.
healthy, but just having an apple is healthy.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, I
It doesn't
hardly
quite
ate.
keep the doctor away.
An
That's
apple,
what you're
apple
having.
a day
Yeah.
only.
But I also, yeah, but I don't know if
Puts
you
you
know
in
this.
hospital.
I'm quite open about it. I used to have boobs, man boobs, so I've had them cut off.
Have you had a
No.
cut off? Actually,
Yeah.
surgically?
Oh my god.
Oh God, I didn't know that.
You don't know that?
No.
I'm quite open about it. Yeah, I had breast tissue.
Were
It was
you
like,
a girl?
No, well, I think I might be because I'm gay and I had
Right.
breasts. I was like, it's really pushing to be a girl. Could be a tran.
An accidental
An
tran.
accidental tran. Don't even know. But yeah, just eventually all came off.
Wow.
And now
I
it's
I like
the
that we're
same
learning
bit.
more about each other on this
Scrapping
podcast.
I know,
Gorgeous
I'm quite an
manual.
oversharer, to be honest.
Yeah, so.
Good
But
on
I'm
you,
not,
brother.
that doesn't bother me though.
Yeah.
I think
Good for
everyone,
you.
if you have
It's-
breast tissue, get them cut off.
Joe's
There's always
jugglies.
running around like rounders or not rounders, I wasn't in the girls' team.
In slow motion.
Softball, my
Like
tits
Baywatch.
like up and down.
Getting black eyes.
I was just like, these need to leave now. I was just like, why are these tits doing that? Now they're pecs, so it's good.
Good for you.
Yeah.
But anyway, that wildly digressed. I like fish.
Yeah.
I like fish.
And sea lions.
Yeah, and like for like a birthday present, I asked for an aquarium.
A
Oh.
whole aquarium.
Yeah, it was a bit.
Like a sea life centre.
Yeah. Like one of those massive tanks.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. All sorts
shark.
of shit.
Yeah, and I was just
I
like,
used to have one of them as a kid, and we used to have eels in it. 2 eels. They were fucking minging there. I don't know why the eels were in there.
Oof.
And I remember I was in bed at my Auntie Pat's, and one of the eels had sort of jumped out. And I woke up with his eel next to me. I was like,
Eels
oh.
are scary
Eels are
looking.
fucking ranks. It had like one of them like bumhole face.
Speaking of childhood memories, it's something. It's almost like bad memories that scar themselves into your childhood. I used to visit my dad in Ireland, and one of his many trades that he was back in the day was a fisherman, and he was specifically an eel fisherman. And he took my mum was like, "Why don't you go out on the boat with your dad? Have a look at the eels." And it was
Mrs.
traumatising.
Doubtfire.
Yeah, so you
What was that noise?
I love you in Smart
That is
voice.
I can't say she doesn't actually sound
I'd
like
like
that.
her to
she does it.
come more. Let's hear more of
But
it.
basically, you got to the net, and I'm so traumatized I can't even speak. we were out on they were caught in a lake, and we went out, and he just pulls the net up. It's basically this massive sphere of writhing eels. And as a child, that is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. And I came back like ashen face, and Mum was like, "What the fuck have you done to it?"
What did she actually say with the voice?
She said, "What the fuck have you done to it?"
Was she in your pocket at the
Why
time?
Thumbelina.
The borrowers.
what
Yeah,
did you
eels
want to
are-
be?
I didn't actually have any thoughts or memories of kind of what I wanted to be growing up. I'm not a very ambitious person at all. I've never kind of dreamt of
I'm happy to
being
wake
this
up.
or I literally have no memories of wanting to be kind of a particular thing. Just
Just happy.
I've just drifted kind of along, which I've been happy to do.
Pleasant.
Yeah.
I think we're done.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you guys, as always. Highly entertaining chat. And yeah, you join us again next week for more frivolous fun. And if you have any thoughts about any of the stuff that we've been talking about in today's podcast, please seek us out on Facebook, where we are 5 Gays 1 Girl, on Instagram at 5 Gays 1 Girl, on Twitter at 5 Gays 1 Girl Pod, or send us an email 5gays1girl@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Fabulous.